Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have gathered today to celebrate the lives of the members of our community that have left this life behind and have entered into the life beyond. Although we can no longer see or hear them, we know by faith that they will live forever in our hearts and minds. I wanted to share this passage from Ecclesiastes, and I'm sure many of you know it. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to tear and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Amen. At this time, I'm going to ask that we all stand. We're going to sing a couple hymns that the family have picked out. So feel free to sing along if you know these songs. Peace be to your servants with your saints. Say this with me if you have the words there. Where sorrow and pain are no more, neither sighing, but life everlasting. May your servant rest with your saints. Together, where sorrow and pain are no more, neither sighing, but everlasting life. We commend your servant, Geraldine Hunt. Acknowledge, we humbly beseech you, a sheep of your own fold, a lamb of your own flock, a sinner of your own redeeming. Receive them, Lord, into your arms of mercy, and to the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of the saints in light. Amen. At this time, I'm going to read the obituary. Geraldine Ann Hunt, age 83, of Castle Rock, Colorado, peacefully passed away at home on Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. She was surrounded by her 3 generations of her family. Kids playing all around her, which is one of her favorite things. She was born on October 2nd, 1940, in Ordway, Colorado. Jerry spent 64 years married to her loving husband, Rex. Theirs was truly the greatest love story. They led by example for what a loving and caring marriage should and could be. Together they welcomed and raised their children, Nanette and Troy. Family was Jerry's priority, and she never doubted how blessed she was to become a mother. Mother-in-law, grandmother, and great-grandmother. What a legacy. Jerry was an inspiration to each one of us. Most importantly, she was the greatest fan and supporter to us all. Jerry was an icon in the Castle Rock area. The family moved to Castle Rock in 1969. She worked in the Douglas County Treasurer's Office in the old courthouse. She was instrumental in installing the first mainframe in the Treasurer's Office. Jerry enjoyed working at the Castle Rock Junior High in the math department before going on to the attendance office. She loved being with the kids and the teachers. Jerry had a talent for making every type of handmade item. She was an entrepreneur of several businesses, restored dolls, tea parties for little girls, recital dance outfits, you name it. Her dream came true when she opened her first embroidery shop in Sedalia, Colorado. Several years later, the shop was moved to Castle Rock, Colorado. The shop was voted #1 several times by the Douglas County News Press. She adored working in her shop and creating lasting friendships with everyone that entered into the shop. Jerry is survived by her beloved husband, Rex Hunt, daughter Nanette, Robert Ull, son Troy Buffy Hunt, sisters Jackie Schneiderwent and Judy Sobeski, sister-in-law Eula Carr, and brother-in-law Leo Hunt, grandchildren Trinette and Garrett Miller, Zachary Renee Hunt, Tacey Mike Peterson, Brandon Thane Hunt, Danielle Tyler Gillespie, Tiana Gadlin, and Jamie Ezra Hopowit. Sorry if I butchered that name. Great-grandchildren Haley Peterson, Tori Miller, Tinsley Miller, Tylen Miller, Waylon Thane Hunt, Macy Gillespie, and Cambria Hobart. Many nieces, nephews, and cousins were very important to her. Jerry was preceded in death by her parents, Thane and Lucille Johnson, sister Jeannie White, and brother John Johnson. Mother and father-in-law, Ruth and Abe Hunt, sister-in-law, Eudora Wilson. Also the family wanted me to acknowledge the pallbearers. That would be Zach Hunt, Brandon Hunt, Garrett Miller, and Mike Peterson. At this time, we're going to share some memories, so I would like to invite friends and family to come up to this microphone right here so that everybody can hear you. Just come up one at a time, and I'll open up the mic at this time.
Good morning. When I sat down to write notes for today, I was at a loss for words. And if you don't know me, I talk a lot. I'm a talker. I could hear my Aunt Jerry saying to me, "Good grief, Dory Lou, you picked now not to have anything to say." I wanted to remember every conversation, every special moment with Aunt Jerry. But at times like these, memories hide like little treasures, only to be found in a smell or a sound or a picture in months to come. One of the first memories I have of my Aunt Jerry is at Uncle Rex's and Aunt Jerry's wedding. She looked like a fairy princess walking down the aisle to her prince, which was very fitting because the love that they shared was like a fairy tale that continued for over 64 years. The next chapter in Aunt Jerry's life began with the births of Nanette and Troy. She was an example of what a good parent should be, and the next years were filled with hard work, faith, and love. And of course, there were challenges. When our family discovered dyslexia was an inherited trait, Aunt Jerry took action. She made calls and appointments, and she did the research. Bear in mind, you just didn't Google it back then. If not for her efforts, several members of our family may have not had the opportunities that they did have today. Later in life, she opened what was probably her favorite of her many entrepreneurial adventures, her embroidery shop, where she embroidered apparel for local businesses and groups. She did the hats for my cousin Toby's handyman business, which he cherishes to this day. Her beautiful creations would make us marvel at her genius, especially when it came to fabric. We also know that the fabric in her basement, she could make a project every day for a year and still have enough left over to slipcover your house inside and out. Talking with Aunt Jerry was so easy. She made you feel heard. She didn't talk down to you. She was kind and relatable. For many of us, she was a port in the storm, always ready with love, understanding, and honesty. Her specialty was silver linings. She was so strong, even while struggling with her own health, she was there for all of us. With her cute little smile and that twinkle in her eye, her excitement was contagious. The annual race to be the one to see the first robin of spring was one of my favorite competitions. For Aunt Jerry, Uncle Rex, Nanette, Troy, her grand and her great-grandchildren always came first, never missing a recital, a graduation, or an event. Family was everything to Aunt Jerry, and Aunt Jerry was everything to her family.
Grams, I think we can all agree that our world has been a little dimmer since you gained your wings. Your radiant smile is forever attached in my memories. Your love story with Grandpa is one I will continue to look up to. You were always there for me, The way you taught me to be strong and not back down is something I will continue to teach Haley. I will miss our conversations at the table and knowing that you're just a phone call away, or a quick drive for a comforting word. What I will miss the most is the words you said after every call or walking out the door. I love you, babe. Your life was a blessing to my family. The memories I have will be cherished, that I will share with my grandchildren. You are loved beyond words and missed beyond measures. Your legacy will live on in the hearts of those lives whose lives you have touched. So I will end it here. I love you, babe.
Oops. Nan asked me to talk to people. My name is Anna. Aunt Jerry called me Annie. She's probably the only person left in the world that does. But I am Annie to her forever. And Nan also asked me to reach out to some of the other cousins, and so I have some things that they wrote for me to read. Jenna Johnson, another niece, said, I'm not good at technology. Okay, I'm so sorry. How do you get rid of that? I know, I told you I would. It's not on Facebook, it's on.
That's on. You want your photos?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go.
Anyway, Jenna said some really nice things about.
Is it one of these?
Yeah, keep going.
Let's keep going this way.
Yeah, we're good.
We're getting there.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
You have to slide.
Jenna, I'm sorry. Jenna said, I remember that Aunt Jerry was always stood by her side. When she was 18, she got into a lot of trouble, and Aunt Jerry called her every week and gave her encouragement. And she gave her dad a lot of encouragement, even though her dad could be kind of a rascal. Aunt Jerry never gave up on him. That's the gist of that one.
You got it just right.
Okay. My daughter Katie, who's a great niece, said, I will never forget calling Aunt Jerry on Thanksgiving to see if we had to eat real food. You'll hear about that in my story. We loved her very much, and it was such a blessing that even my babies knew how special she was. I'm so happy that she had peace in her last moments. May her memory be a blessing. Leanne Hall is another niece who lives in Texas. And I had to paraphrase because she talks really fast. She said, I had some very fond memories of Aunt Jerry. One such memory is from when she and her sister Jonna came up north for the first time after they had moved to Texas. Aunt Jerry was surprised that they had lost their Colorado accents and was trying to mimic their southern y'alls, which made them all giggle. She also remembers bringing her kids to visit when they were young, and Aunt Jerry brought out paints and rocks, and the kids painted rocks, and they still have the rocks to this day. Now, she was very adamant that I said this. She said, and then there was some kind of a baked sandwich that had ham, and they love it. They still rave about it. She doesn't know how to make it. But if you know Leanne, you know that there are things that she really wants to get across. She also wanted to make sure that Nan and Troy and Uncle Rex knew that she considers Aunt Jerry to be one of her most important positive role models. And Missy Sebeski, another niece, said, I could talk with Aunt Jerry for days on crafting and being creative. She knew it all, from knitting, crocheting, sewing, quilting, needlework, and painting. She would always ask what I've been working on and remind me to always make room for creating and branching out and trying new things. I love all of her beaded jewelry. She understood that joy of finding the right material and creating something was good and nourishment for the soul, and the bonus of sharing the gift with others. She had a genuine smile that lit up her face and made her eyes sparkle. I think that's everybody. And then there's me. My first memories of Aunt Jerry, and I'm sure I had more, but was I would hang out with Nan all the time, and I would come to visit when I wasn't too homesick. And Aunt Jerry was going to make me eat vegetables. So those of you that never had to go through this, you're welcome, because she said it was the worst thing she ever did, and she'd never do it again. I would sit for hours and hours and cry at the table, and I could not play, and there were no microwaves until I ate my mushy green peas. I would like to let her know that she was successful, because after about 45 years, I started liking vegetables. And the story about the Thanksgiving that my daughter mentioned was that we were having a Thanksgiving dinner, and my family always go to a movie. We live in California, no family around. And I was trying to get them to eat something, pineapple casserole, I think. And I said, let's call Aunt Jerry. She'll make you eat it. And Aunt Jerry said, did you go to a movie? And they said, yes. And she said, did you have popcorn? And they said, yes. And she said, that's a vegetable. So anyway, another fun story I have was just 2 summers ago, I think, there was a TikTok challenge called the Tortilla Challenge. And the 2 people would put water in their mouth, and they get a big tortilla, and they take turns smacking each other in the face until somebody spits out their water. Well, we got Mom, her sister Jackie, and Jerry at a table, and we handed them a tortilla and said, we want you to do the tortilla challenge. And Aunt Jerry said, my mom said, we cannot hit each other. And my mom said, you're right. And Aunt Jerry took that tortilla and whacked her across the face and laughed her. She laughed. She thought it was hysterical. Aunt Jerry had a fun sense of humor. The last time I saw Aunt Jerry was this summer, and she was not feeling well, but she was still talking about that next great craft that she was going to do. And that always inspires me. And we also talked about the things that we had both tried just one time, and we loved it, but we never did it again. The only thing I can think of is paper quilling, but I know that there were like 3 or 4 things. So I promised her that I would go back and retry some of the things that we had discovered together. Lots of memories. I can't say anymore. I didn't cry. So, anyway, thank you for listening.
Is there any others? Okay.
Are you going to? Okay. I don't know if I can follow that act, but I'll try. At the last funeral that Grams and I went to, she instructed me on what I could say and not say at her funeral. And if I dare say more, she would haunt me for it. The things I know I can say about my Grams is she was my person. I wanted to tell and share everything with her. From the first time I vomited, I wanted her to see it before it could get cleaned up. To lots of long-distance collect calls while I horse showed, long conversations on my way back to college every weekend. She was the first phone call when something great happened I wanted to make. My Grams could turn my bad day around when she answered the phone with a simple, "Hello, my babe." To say I will be lost without her is a huge understatement. It's okay. It's right. In December, I begged God to give me more time with her. On my birthday, I started to beg again. When the girls and I pray at night, I would say, God, I need her more than you do. All I can pray now is that she watches over my girls. I will pray that she will be a guardian angel and help them, give them strength to see the good in people and be spicy, just like my Grams.
That's tough, huh? So I didn't know how to start. So, dear Grandma, I'll miss and cherish calling you and you answering, "Hey, babe," your soft words and tenderness in times of trouble, telling me it will be okay. I will miss your sternness in the exact moments I need it. I will miss your love and the way you showed us all to love. I will miss the way you smiled and always goofed around to try to make you laugh. Thank you for your ever-loving support and comfort. You were always in my corner when I needed someone. I always knew I could go to you. You loved us all unconditionally and showed us how to be loving, supportive, and strong. Can't see. Strong and confident. You are the centerpiece of our family, and you made us all who we are today. I love you more than words can explain, and certainly more than I ever told you. I want to thank everyone for being here today and loving and comforting one another. Today we are sad, and my grandma would say that's okay. But I also want everyone to take a moment and dry your tears and remember all the happy times you had with my grandma. Today we celebrate her life. Today we honor the person she was. It's a little harder than I thought. But now we get to laugh a little. As you all know, I was her favorite. And I should have started there. Even when I was in the wrong and got in trouble, my grandma would always have my back. My dad once told me I had to tell my grandma when I got in trouble. And I was terrified. So we got to her house, and I told my grandma what had happened and what I did. And it was silent, and I was nervous that I disappointed her. And she looked at my dad and said, "My sweet boy never did that. He was framed." And she gave me a hug, and everything felt better. The point of that is that she always made people feel as their world was crumbling, that everything would be fine. I always felt I got special treatment from her being her favorite. But seeing you all here today, we were all her favorite. She loved us all tremendously, and she showed us all that. She had a way of making everyone feel as if you were her favorite, and that you were special and one of a kind. I want you all to know, but I will always still be number one favorite. You can all be close second. I want to leave you with laughter and a joke I shared with my grandma. She cooked. She was never the greatest cook. She never really baked, but she tried. But we all know she loved McDonald's. So today I ask, every time you pass and smell an apple pie, you remember, just like Grandma used to make.
As you can all see, she was very loved. We got another. Come on up.
Brian's right. Harder than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, I couldn't even really bring myself to write anything. And it was hard, but I thought about it a lot. And at the end of the day, she gave us so much time and created so much memory for us that there's so many ways that I still get to hang out with her. We used to sit at night. I was never very good at sleeping. I just stay up till like 3 a.m. all the time, even when I was a little kid. And she'd stay up with me, and we'd sit in the living room in the dark and just watch the stars and listen for trains. So now every time I get to look at the stars and listen for trains, I get to hang out with her. She's an entrepreneur and a great artist. And every time I get to doodle on a notepad and talk on the phone and pretend like I'm paying attention, I get to hang out with her. Oh, man. She's really funny, too. So every time we get a laugh, I get to hang out with her. Oh, man. She always had that. Yeah, but she always had the right thing to say, and no matter what was going on, she could make you laugh. And everybody has one of those stories, but one of the first times after I got out of the Air Force and got my new job, I got put into a position where I had no idea what I was doing at work. And I called her. She asked how it was going. She said, well, is it something that you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it. Honestly, I don't know if I want to work at all. It would be great if I just couldn't. And she's like, well, makes sense. It's like, I have no idea what's going on. She said, Zach, I'm an old lady. I've never known what I wanted to do. I still don't know what's going on. But at least try to have some fun while you're doing it. You're going to be confused forever. It's like, okay, that's a good point. So, miss her a lot. But there's so many things that we all can do and still get to hang out with her. So draw something, create something, paint something, do a craft, and hang out with her for a little while. Thanks.
Okay, at this time we'll move forward. I also wanted to share my own reflection. Many of you don't know me, but I was a chaplain for her the last few months of her life in hospice. And I got to go with, I see my social worker out here as well, Pam. Pam and I would go together to visit Jerry, and just to see the love that Rex had for her and Nan had for her and the extended family that came while we were there just was so evident. As you can see by attendance day, she was so loved. She's such a sweet lady, the sweetest lady I've ever known. And it was a joy to be with her, to sing her songs. Every time I sang her a song, she would close her eyes and just lean back in her chair and just love the hymns that we sang together. Many of the hymns that we're singing today are the hymns that we sang when I was present with her. She was just a sweet lady and just was always so kind and always wanted to hug at the end of our visits, and just loving on Jerry. I have a poem I wanted to share. They do not leave, they are not gone, they look upon us still. They walk upon the valleys now, they stride along the hill. Their smile is in the summer breeze, their grace is in the summer sky. Their memories whisper in the grass, their calm is in the trees. Their light is in the winter snow, their tears are in the rain, their merriment runs in the brook, their laughter in the lane. Their gentleness is in the flowers, their sighs is in the autumn leaves. They do not leave, they are not gone. 'Tis only we who grieve. All right, I'll read this passage here from Luke 2:29 through 32. It says this, Lord, now let your servant depart in peace, according to your word, for my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before the face of all people, to be a light to lighten the Gentiles, and to be the glory of the Lord. Amen. At this time, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. If you know it, feel free to say it with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. We're going to stand and sing one more hymn this morning, and then we'll conclude.